All right, everyone, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, August 16th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here finishing down about 0.75% on the spiders. Triple Qs here down 1%. You see the VIX upticking pretty nicely. VIXy up 1.6 there. Dow down 0.5%. And the Russell 2000, they're down 1.25. Pretty good dump there on the IWM, going all the way back into that 185 handle, into this little green bar here. But markets down on the day. What was the story? Well, markets were getting hit a little bit early on, kind of routine, just kind of downtrending like we've been lately, just kind of bear control intraday. And then obviously we had the Fed minutes at 2 p.m. kind of chopped around a little bit, and then it was a little bit of a sell the rip. What did they say? Basically, the things I've been warning about here: inflation's, there's concerns that that's going to ramp back up, that that's going to be sticky, and obviously markets not liking that. We saw bonds dump out. If we take a look at the 30-year TYX, actually let's look at via trading view here. We can see the after hours. It's actually continuing to uptick. There's the 2-year. That's back close to that 5% handle. But 30-year here, getting very close to double top, dangerously close to double top. So obviously market's not liking that. Now, I want to say this here. So I've been waiting for this, dump here. I've been talking about it for like at least a week or two. And I said, look, like this needs to, if there's going to be a bounce here, they need to like flush it down. No more of this like dancing around, grinding around, bounce here for a day, gap up. Like, no, you need to puke it down. That's how you're going to get a rally, and which I think ultimately results in a lower high, but still should get some type of a bid here. We are into a lot of support. We did break this trend line. A lot of people are going to post this trend line. Usually the third hit of a trend line, when it breaks the first time, is usually a fake out on a third hit, and I think that is likely to happen. I do think we hold up here, especially if we gap down tomorrow morning. I may be inclined to buy that dip, but we'll see here. So markets kind of showing some damage. We talked about that. By the way, I think it's safe to say now, if you remember a few weeks ago, I said there was a sell signal on the markets, and I said that on July 19th, which is when we topped out. What day was that? What was the sell signal? It was the semiconductors. So we had some good volume there coming in on the semis, and actually it was the 20th, so it was the day after we topped out. And you guys know me, I love the semis here for a leading indicator, and they have really kind of followed through here for us to the downside there. And again, we'll talk about that more in a minute here, but market's topping out here. I do think it's likely the highs of the year are in, unless the bulls make they need to make a really robust move right now, which I think we do get a bounce. I just don't think we take out the high. The reason I say the highs are in is because if we look at seasonally, September, October, November, we're going into that. NASDAQ was up 45% at one point this year. Nothing's going to go up in a straight line forever. It's just the way it works. Just like nothing goes down forever. So going into that seasonality, let's say we come down, downside targets 420, 415, 410, a lot of support in this area on the spiders. We bottom out in November, say, a 5% rally from there is just going to get you back to 430, right? So that's why I think it's likely more and more each day that the bulls don't rally this, that the highs of the year are in. But in either case, we did come in. I am expecting a short-term bounce, maybe even tomorrow. Again, it is OPEX week too, so expect whipsaw, expect rallies to be, sold off and sell-offs to be bought. But I think you're in a pretty good demand zone here for the SPY. We did chop around quite a bit in June. We never confirmed a downtrend. We did confirm a downtrend, obviously, this time around, but there still should be some buyers willing to step in that area. Additionally, if we use the Qs as a proxy here, obviously we broke that trend line 50 moving average there, but throw on another trend line and look where we went today. So we're right in this area, and then look at this: pivot low, gap fill, pivot high. So there's a lot of support here in this area, at least daily chart support. That doesn't mean it's going to hold on a weekly, but you basically went into this channel, pretty much in a straight line. You had one little lower high there, So I think it's likely here that this market does bounce up. Again, like I said, as soon as tomorrow, possibly even. But again, markets are showing some weakness here, and there are lots of things, a lot of headwinds coming into play. Rate hike lag effects, that's coming into play. Inflation starting to uptick, that's coming into play. A lot of people are talking about Japan. I haven't talked about it much on here, but the yen is a problem right now, and we can get into that later. But there's lots of things. A lot of people are talking about the carry trade blowing up. Maybe that causes a credit event. I'm hearing that word sloshed around a lot. I'm not so sure that necessarily happens. I think too many people are prepared for it, but I could be wrong. I do think volatility is bottomed, though. VIX here holding up really well. By the way, VIXpiration today, so we'll see how that plays out. But in any case here, short term, I do think we get some type of a bounce here. Where could that take us? At least to 450. I think that's totally reasonable. Maybe even a test of this gap. I would say it's likely once you get to this gap window here at 453, 52, you take that out and you fill the gap, then we can go higher. That's what I would caveat everything with, but I don't really expect that to happen. I don't really see anything that makes me think that's going to happen right now. But again, we'll take it one day at a time here, one day at a time as it always is. And again, we'll see if we can put in some type of a bottom here in the near term. Again, watch that trend line on the Qs. We'll see if we can get a bounce there. And, for targets there, I think 375 to maybe even 380 is reasonable for the triple Qs. But again, they have been weaker. We're really top heavy. Like these big tech names, talked about them topping out sooner before the rest of the market. And that has been the case. Again, semiconductors told me that was going to happen. But these stocks like NVIDIA, I just read today some firm upgraded the price target to 800. That is like the textbook definition of needing exit liquidity. So if you're not familiar with that, these firms do this all the time. They buy, and then when it goes on a rally, they want to get out. So they just upgrade the price target. They just dump it to retail monkeys, and not to mention the CEO is selling shares too. If their earnings are going to be so good, which is next week, why is the CEO selling shares now? So I don't know. Maybe they say AI enough times we get one more pump out of it. I still think there's AI fatigue going on, but either way, like these really top heavy plays. Look at Apple. Again, still kind of daily bear flag in there. So again, big tech coming in, and that's putting pressure on the market. Obviously, I don't need to reiterate it enough times, but in any case, Russell 2000, let's get over here. So that did lose that kind of level there, and that was a good level of support for that to bounce. You do have the 200-week moving average. You do have this green bar here at 184.16, so that should be a level there, but definitely softening up. I thought this had a good chance to get up to 200, 202. Never quite got there. And now you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weekly lower highs there on the Russell. So definitely something to take into consideration. And again, I've been long saying that this is just a big monthly bear flag here on the IWM. But in either case, it is pulling back. We'll see if that can get a bounce here right into that area. There should be some support there for the IWM. The Dow also coming back in as well. Again, we've been talking about this for weeks. If you come back in, 343 to 345, you got your 50-day right there, breakout bar. There should be some support in that area for the DIA. Semiconductors here down 1.5. We just mentioned that. Hitting that 150 level, little rollover. You take this out, there's nothing to say this doesn't go down into this area. Does it happen right away? I don't think so. Again, if I think we're bouncing tomorrow, I would think the semis would too. Maybe we get up to 155, somewhere in that area. I think that the semis in general will just hold up at least until NVIDIA earnings, which is next week. But that doesn't mean they can't come under a little bit of pressure. I just don't see a big sell-off, at least until then, especially obviously if the market does get a bounce. Rising tide kind of lifts all boats there. IGV still bear flagging on the daily. Again, weekly, you got to hold this. If this doesn't hold, this is a sell all the way down to, at least this trend line, but probably 320 would be kind of your better level there. But right now it's hanging on there. Again, if we get a bounce, it can get saved one more time. But definitely a little bear flag look there for the IGV. Dow Transports, take a look here. So look at the intraday here. This is a whipsaw Wednesday for sure. Big pump in the morning and then all the way down all day long, finishing down 1%. Where's it going to go? If you've been following, it's going to 15.5, 15.6, right? There's your green breakout bar. Tested it, couldn't get through it. We got through it. 50-day MA right there. So that's probably your likely target there for the transports. Weekly look here, you're going to get below that green bar too, so that's not a good sign. But you do have support here. The problem is with the transports, and the same problem I have with Apple, and I warned about this as well, no supports, right? It's just a algorithmic buy up. Somebody said it's like a vessel for passive income, passive flows. The transport, same thing though. No support on the way up on the weekly. That's my problem with it. And it can go down just as quickly as it went up. Short term though, it should get down to 15.5 or so, and it should have some support there, at least in the meantime. Already covered rates a little bit, but we'll do it again because they're important. At 30-year, if we get to double top tomorrow, you'll probably see a gap down in the market. I would be a little surprised if that doesn't happen. That'll be all over the headlines. 2-year here, especially if the 2 years above 5%. But again, I warned about this too. I said double top. All you got to do is put in a higher low or two, and this is going to go right up. What's it doing right now? Higher lows. It's attacking 5 again. Rates are a problem. 5-year 4.42 again. Again, that's getting in close. I mean, these are all cup and handle patterns here, and they're clean. 10-year taking out the recent high. That can even get to double top tomorrow. So that's going to be a big deal. Watch those. I do think they're a little overbought here. Like the 10-year probably won't get through double top on the first try and might pierce it and then come back in, just like the 2-year. But if you're looking for a catalyst for a gap down tomorrow, that's probably it right there. So anyways, XHB finally doing some chart damage. Take a look. So let's see here, low is 82.30 and we closed at 82.35. Very close. It's just like this thing just can't go down. By the way, I read Warren Buffett yesterday bought Lennar, D.R. Horton, and another one, I believe. Maybe there's legislation coming down the pike because it's not very characteristic of Warren Buffett to chase something at all-time highs, and all 3 of those names were at all-time highs. You can get into that later, but either way, it does look like a little bit of a rolling top there on XHB, as you guys know. ITB, same kind of look there. I do think these need to come in, regardless of what Warren Buffett's doing. VNQ breaking down here. Again, look for $80. That's probably a good level of support there on the daily. If you get through that, it's down to this level there. But VNQ coming in. Here's another reason why I don't think the market is really going to break down tomorrow. XLF would be down more than 5 cents. That's my take. We are below that weekly support level, so we had 2 more days to save it. But you save that green bar here by the end of the week, it can still advance a little bit, but it's definitely on the weaker side. But today, at least, if this was a real breakdown, the market was really scared, you'd see XLF down a lot more, I think. But either way, it is coming in. Watch that weekly level there. KRE also into weekly support. We'll watch that tomorrow. KBE basically to the 50 moving average there. We'll watch that. That should hold tomorrow as well. Broker dealers coming in, testing the 50 again. We'll see how that holds. If it gets through that, it's down to 480. Okay, on to crude and commodities. So down 2% there for CL. Does have a lot of support down at 77, 77.50. Even if you get through that, you got these moving averages, you got this pivot there. So I see a lot of support there and weekly chart support at that. For crude, again, I talked about this. It does need to come back in. You had a power thrust up like 18, 19% in 7 weeks. Not surprising to see it come back in. I think this can put in a higher low, but it's just needs to do a little bit of backing and filling. XLE holding up okay. It is pulling back, obviously, but basically hanging on to that 20 moving average, and that still has support at 85 as well. So we'll see what that does tomorrow. If the market gets a bid, maybe this can get up into the low 90s. XOP pulling back, that wants the 20. And then OIH finally losing the 20, confirming below that. Not below yesterday's low though, so still strong, still above this pivot. And this can still advance on the weekly. Net gas coming in as well, down 2.7 on the day. That's into that breakout area, so this is an interesting level for nat gas. We also have inventories tomorrow. Faded that, well, I wouldn't say the whole move here, but you got right to where you broke out from, so I like this area of support here on nat gas, especially going into inventory numbers, also 4-hour oversold. We'll see if that gets a bid here tomorrow. If it does, and you get up to 3 again, I don't think it's going to hold the next time. So anyways, all right, dollar index here. Dollar was strong today. 103.50. Just keeps hanging in there. See the high of the day, 103.45, and we closed at 103.47. So we took out the high from Monday. Yeah, this one's 103.75. And I think if you get there tomorrow, again, you're kind of overbought enough that you could get a pullback that could give the market a rally, market a lift. I'm gonna leave that on there for now. But this right here, 103.75.6, was that previous weekly red bar that led to the breakdown. So that's your next weekly level. So that's what I'm watching. So we get above that on the dollar on a weekly close. I think you squeeze up to 106, 106.50. Again, like I just said, though, we probably pull back before then. I would say probabilities dictate that. But it's still strong. And a lot of people got bearish on the dollar. Even myself, I said, look, it should be able to hold 100. And it didn't. But then guess what? You had kind of a failed inside bar bear flag there. And ever since that took place, it's gone higher. But I haven't done anything with the dollar in a while. I'm not doing anything until it really proves itself in either direction here. But it's definitely looking really trappy for the dollar bears who shorted sub 100. Gold here, you know where that's going, 1900. Silver, that's got one more push down. It just can't get out of its own way here. So it's oversold. It's been getting beaten down here. It's trying to hang on to this pivot. Doesn't mean it won't get a bounce first. It probably should. At least let that 20 moving average catch up. But I think that has one more push down. And then I'm interested in jumping in. And platinum also one more push down and into this area here. I like this level for platinum, 820, 860. But that did come back in. Palladium also coming back in. You guys know that's got one more low. Copper also coming down here. We'll see how that reacts at 360 in the short term, but bigger picture, it's going to 340. Bitcoin, I'm not even going to bother flipping over here, but it was down 25 basis points here on the futures. Weekly pattern is still intact. We are supposed to get news on the ETF, I believe, either later this week or next week. So we should have news on that, and obviously that'll be a catalyst in either direction here. I mean, at some point they're going to approve the ETF. It's just a matter of when they do it. Obviously, if it gets approved, you'll probably get a big squeeze. And the weekly pattern does suggest that, so you guys know which side of the boat that I'm on there. So anyways, to wrap up here, so again, spiders did break that trend line again. No confirmation below it, though. We did confirm below the 50 moving average, however. But again, usually third hit of the trend line is going to be a fake out. I think the markets are down a little bit here. First leg of a bear move is usually the weakest one. And I think we should get a bounce here, especially with yields giving me that look. 30-year wanting and going to double top, dollar going into some resistance here, despite defying gravity recently and showing a lot of strength. A demand zone. Triple Qs into this trend line. I got to favor that, the upside here, at least risk reward in the short term. Bigger picture, I think the bears are going to come back to play as we get into the fall season. But for right now, we'll look for some type of a bounce here and then maybe a lower high after that. Anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow.